Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our virtual cultural exchange between Morocco and Gibraltar. This event is organized jointly by the Gibraltar Morocco Business Association, of which Mr. Clive Reid is president, and Strait of Gibraltar Association, of which Mr. Brahim Krikas is president. I am Henry Sacramento, your host this evening. Today, we feature a well-known Gibraltarian, but before I introduce him, let us see some footage of his work so far. We need to thank the gentleman that edited that very professionally. Thank you, Mr. Abdelhani Kukus, for the editing of our intro video. This stage, I'd like to remind our viewers that they will be able to put questions to our guests this evening. And of course, encourage you to like our Facebook page, comment by all means, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Well, let me introduce our guest this evening. Our guest joined the Gibraltar Youth Service as a volunteer in 1992, and since then has organized many social and community events, from beauty pageants to fundraising initiatives for charity up to the 2001. He joined the civil service in 1999 as an administrative assistant and was posted to the Social Services Department. In the year 2000, after being promoted to administrative officer, he was appointed by the Minister for Social Services to organize the Gibraltar Fair, National Week, and National Day festivities, events he has now organized for over 20 years. In 2004, he was posted to the Ministry of Culture as an administrative officer with event organizing duties. Since then, he has been involved with coordinating, producing, and organizing many of Her Majesty's government's social, cultural, and leisure events, including the tercentenary celebrations, the bicentenary celebrations, royal visits, Diamond Jubilee, Miss World Homecoming, Al Gore Conference, UEFA celebrations, amongst others. In 2009, he was promoted to executive officer, which included the coordination of cultural events. Between September 2010 and July 2013, he was also appointed PA to His Worship the Mayor. That included the organizing many of mayoral events, receptions, and ceremonial functions, including the freedom of the city of Cayenne Aldorino, freedom of the city of Lord Greville Jenner, the freedom of the city for the Marquis of Lothian, the Medallion of Distinction for PC Jared McIntosh, and various mayors' awards ceremonies, to mention a few. Most recently, he has also organized the freedom of the city for Adolfo Canepa and the Royal Air Force. In 2011, he was promoted to Head of Events, HEO, at the Gibraltar Cultural and Heritage Agency, where he was responsible for organizing and coordinating government cultural events in Gibraltar. In July 2014, he became one of the founder directors of Gibraltar Cultural Services, with responsibilities for all the events that GCS looks after. In May 2016, he was promoted to Chief Executive Officer Designate at GCS, and as from the 1st of February 2018, became the CEO. He obtained a certificate in humanities in 2011, a diploma in humanities in 2014, and a BA with honors in humanities from the Open University in 2015. In his personal capacity, as part of his voluntary work, he was part of the Gibraltar National Dance Organisation Committee between 1995 and 2017, where he carried out the duties as president between 2011 and 2017. He is currently the International Dance Organisation's IDO Vice President, with representative responsibilities for communications, public relations, and the media. An international judge for the world governing body and the IDO ambassador for the Iberian Peninsula. He is also the founder of MO Productions, that is a voluntary group which organizes educational cultural events for young people. He has organized many events, from European Dance Championships, National Championships, and the annual Gibraltar International Dance Festival, to name a few. He was also involved in the production and organization of many local productions, including the Miss Gibraltar Pageant 2001, musicals, and variety shows. Good evening and welcome, Gibraltar Cultural Services Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Seamus Byrne.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful introduction, and what a wonderful video, may I say. Thank you so much for having me.
What a pleasure to have you with us. Seamus, share with us how and why your interest in dance and culture.
Well, it's a very quite funny story to start, because I was 3 years old. My sisters used to dance with Mario Pereira and Adoración. They used to go to flamenco classes at the Catholic Community Center. My mom used to take me along, and then I ended up dancing there for a few months, and ended up doing a show at the Laguna, at the Laguna's Adventure Playground for charity when I was that age. I've been a very active sports person all my life since I was a very young boy. But in relation to the arts and dance, I started dancing officially with the Tarek dance group, and I was involved in many events. And I was also very lucky to have been taken by the group to UK on several occasions, both to London Studio Centre for workshops and to the Nottingham Stage Dance Festival. I also remember also dancing with Lionel Perez at the Bayside Drama Studio in the latter days of the Alpha Group. Then I joined my sister's Dancer Academy. She's Suleika, she's the director of Dancer Academy. I joined Dancer Academy when I was 17, was there for many years. And I also had the opportunity of working with Gibraltar Academy of Dance stylists and leitmotif as a freelancer. I also did GCSE drama with one of Gibraltar's greats, Mario Arroyo. In 1995, I also joined the Gibraltar National Dance Team. At that time, I was also the captain of the GFA Under-18 squad. And Mario and Michael Prescott called me and told me, do you want to come and dance and travel the world? And then I said, well, there's no UEFA and FIFA, so I better go with Michael and travel the world, which I did, and I was a member of the national team for many years. Insofar as an interesting culture, well, I think that became more of an interest to me when I became an events organizer in my teenage years, mainly organizing youth activities, like you've rightly said, variety shows, national events. I was also a member of Galt and Associates with Sonia Galt.
I remember.
Where we used to do so much modeling. We gave too many fashion shows for charity, also some contracts. I also formed part of many beauty pageants with Sonia Galt, Monk Productions, Alex Brito when he used to do top model, Derek de Soisa when he used to do junior top model as well. But then obviously my passion for culture and the arts grew when I joined the Ministry of Culture, and it was part of my professional career.
How lucky to have been able to do something that you're so passionate about as your paid job.
Yes, Henry, that is also always a bonus. I could have been many things in life. I went to UK to be a teacher. I came back after 2 months because I was more of a mommy's boy and I was homesick of a granny's boy. Let's put it that way. I then was given a scholarship by Betty Lane to go and train professionally at Lane Theatre Arts. Again, being a family boy, I turned it down after a few weeks. And then I was lucky enough to have joined the civil service, and even more luckier when I was headhunted by Clive Beltran and the late Albert Phillinson, who was the cultural director at the time, the chief executive officer. They handheld me because of my experience in events, and I am very blessed to say that my job is also my vocation. So I'm very blessed.
Blessed, totally blessed. Seamus, early beginnings as a volunteer in the youth services. Share with us what the youth services were like in those days.
Well, it was a very active youth service. I remember that I used to go to the Adventure Playground every 2 Fridays for discos there, when they used to organize discos there at the Nissan hut of the Adventure Playground. And I also was allowed to go to the Fantasy Youth Club, not only because socially, but also because I used to dance there with the Tariq dance group. It was our rehearsal room, no?
It
From
has to be said that this is pre-Open Frontier days, no?
no, this was in the late 80s,
Okay.
late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
And then I started volunteering for events. And then when I was 14, 15, in 1992, I joined the youth service as a permanent volunteer, working very closely under the leadership of Robert Barban and many youth pioneers of the day, namely Alfred Rumbo and the late Lawrence Robles,
Lawrence Robles, yes.
to mention a few. No, and here really is where my passion, where my events organizing experience started. I started organizing with the youth service many fundraising initiatives, all for charity, whether they were bed pushing marathons, cycling marathons, Safeway raffles, disco marathons, youth activities where we used to organize trips to the Arco Park or Tivoli to give young people different opportunities, supporting the Three Kings Cavalcade, a variety of programs that used to be done by the youth service at the time. So again, a very important stage and platform, which then helped me along my way in my life.
Seamus, who has been your biggest inspiration and why?
Personally, I always have to say my grandmother and obviously my parents. They have been influential in everything that I do. When you look for inspiration, recently I've been with work. I always remember the words of Martin Luther King when he says, "I have a dream." I always remember as well, very recently, for the last 2 years, reminding myself of Che Guevara when he says, "Hasta la victoria siempre," because you have to try and aim for the stars when you're producing events, not only personally as a volunteer, but also for Her Majesty's Government of Gibraltar. But then obviously my biggest inspiration must be Robert Barban. Robert Barban, I recall the late Bernard Linares when he was Minister for Youth and Culture. At Robert Barban's retirement party in 2001, he said that Robert Barban was one of the best people that represented all the goodness of Gibraltar's community. And for me, I am going to be against of what all the politicians say and all the arguments they have in Parliament about who's the greatest Gibraltarian. For me, the greatest Gibraltarian is obviously Robert Barban. His exemplary service, his kindness, his positivity, his doors were always opened for everybody in the community, whether it was for employment, for charity. Robert Barban was much more than that. And with all those qualities that he had is something that I always try to instill.
I have to add his humbleness.
Yes.
His
yes.
humbleness
Siempre.
shown always through it. Yeah.
Always
What an amazing Gibraltarian.
And for me, those were the qualities that I try to instill personally and professionally, And something that always Robert told me, which I always do in my work, especially with the Ministry of Culture and Gibraltar Cultural Services, is our doors always have to be open. Our service is always open, but most importantly, give everything you have without asking for anything in return. And that is something that I always try and do as Gibraltar's cultural director.
Beautiful. Well done. Long may you continue to do it, Seamus.
Thank you.
Seamus, your biggest achievement so far. I know you've produced a lot of things, but si te tiene que quedar con uno, if you have to keep one, which one would it be?
Well, my biggest achievement is not only mine, but it also belongs to GCS. I think the COVID program between March 2000 and June 2021, it's been an 18 months, which was really a survival game because we surpassed all expectations, but I worked tirelessly together with my superb team at Gibraltar Cultural Services in keeping culture alive throughout the pandemic. I remember my wife always telling me, can you stop sacrificing your family because of work and please stay at home? And I said, no puedo, I cannot do it.
Yeah.
It was a year full of roller coaster emotions. It was a chess game because when something becomes a priority, which people thought that culture was not important, then my role as a CEO and as Gibraltar's Cultural Services was ensuring that culture remained relevant, that
And
culture
alive.
remained alive, and it remained essential for everybody in the community, especially everybody that was stuck at home. And there were many, many benefits that came from it. No, it inspired, it entertained, it allows us to be expressive, and many, many times, because of the hurdles that we had to face, we had to think about outside the box. No, outside the box. We started with an online program which lasted for 10 weeks. We then moved on to opening our doors to many young people in the community who were not allowed to go to school. We provided literary offerings, both at the Market Show and the Alameda. We then did many, many exhibitions. Our Gibraltar frontline workers, the creatives, kitchen studios, we managed to complete our cultural exchange with Victor Quintanilla. We took all our events online: National Day, National Week, New Year's, Spirit of Christmas, classical concerts, Literature Week. We established, because of our work, we established the Extraordinary Culture TV. We got people at home doing Lego, which ended up in being a massive exhibition which surpassed all expectations. We worked with GAMPA, we worked with different cultural organizations. We supported many, many people like Friday Night Live, Viva los 90s, Odette Venata, Nathan Payas, who went around the estate singing, the Musicians Association of Gibraltar, and many, many others. And because of the hurdles that we were facing, we ended up having all the time to over-promote ourselves. We had to over-promote ourselves, and we ended up with hashtags like GCS never rests, you will never have to never estimate culture. We did a massive mural at the entrance of the Market of Shoal, which you have seen on the video, which says culture inspires. And then there was a very memorable occasion for me, which was 9th of September 2020, with a tweet by the Gibraltar magazine, which said, and I quote, "For many weeks, the John McIntosh Hall closed doors may have given us the impression that Gibraltar Cultural Services was sitting in the laurels," and then in bold and in caps lock. And what a misconception that could be. And absolutely a rightful misconception, because we worked harder than ever. Our projects and the importance of culture in society was not only as a community, but also for one's personal well-being. And we proved that culture was more than events. We worked harder. We went over and above our call of duty. And our biggest achievement, my biggest achievement, and that of my team, was proving that culture, and GCS for that matter, was an extraordinary frontline worker. And we supported many, many people in the community, and proved to be a lifeline for many people who have unfortunately stuck at home.
Well, congratulations on all those achievements. And we have Mr. Brahim Krikas that says, "Welcome to our dear guest, Mr. Seamus, and many thanks for accepting our invitation. It is a great honor and a pleasure for our society here in Morocco and Gibraltar to get to know closely such a wonderful and hard-working personality who gave a lot to culture and art in Gibraltar society through a magnificent cultural design with organizational quality." So thank you very much from our president, Mr. Brahim Krikas. And we have Gibraltar Morocco Business Association that says, "Such a pleasure to see Mr. Seamus and have a chat about his wonderful contributions to culture, events, especially those who link Gibraltar and the Kingdom of Morocco." And talking of linking, we have Manar that says, "Seamus is a great person. He gave me a chance to be on Gib Talks without doubting me. Well done for all your achievements." Yes, and well done to you, Manar.
Thank you.
Oh, Sonia Golds, it says, our dear friend Sonia, "It was a pleasure to have had you in Gold and Associates model agency and enhancing many of my shows, dancing and participating in a great variety of them. You have made us all proud with what you have done career-wise. Keep it up, and thank you. Thank you very much, Sonia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Oh, Kevin Salsa, great person, hard worker, very professional, and a big heart. Thank you, Kevin,
Thank you.
for participating. Oh, and Stephen Marine
Stephen,
says,
thank you.
welcome, Seamus. Firstly, well done for achieving such a vast social, cultural calendar. My question, don't you think your department should be joining GIB Tourist Board in attending the international tourism fairs?
Yes, of course. Well, first of all, thank you everybody for your beautiful comments, and Brahim and the association also for having me here today. But yes, it's very, very important that culture and tourism work as one and form part of all international tourism fairs. It's very, very important that we sell our events tourism program, because it's important for Gibraltar PLC. It's important for Her Majesty's Government of Gibraltar, and certainly for both ministries to work together and create events that will enhance Gibraltar PLC and will allow people to come to Gibraltar. So that is always on a priority list. And I've already been in contact with Monique Chiara, who is now leading the Gibraltar Tourist Board, and I'm already working with her and planning ahead so that in 2022 Gibraltar's events-led tourism program is splashed out, not only Morocco but elsewhere in other international fairs.
Fantastic. And talking of Morocco, Seamus, pre-COVID, you organized an exchange where you brought artists, musicians. Tell us how did that go?
Well, it was an extraordinary event. I remember, because of all these COVID situations which had started, we had to do the first phase. The first phase of the exchange was done in two parts. The first part was an exhibition without the artists and the musicians, because we had issues with the visa, which were then sorted a few days later after the events had passed. But it was an extraordinary art exhibition. And then, even better, they came back in January. We did lots of work with the Gibraltar Youth Service. We did lots of work with the schools. Our artists and our musicians managed to go around to the different educational establishments. It was a tremendous success. And now we look forward to the second phase. Hopefully, once the ferries are back in action, we can export our art and our artists and our musicians and take them to Tangier in the not too distant future, hopefully.
Inshallah, God willing.
God willing.
Seamus, MO Productions, tell us about it.
Well, MO Productions was named after my late grandmother, Maru Ortiz. She's from Maltese descent. She married my grandfather from La Linea. That's hence the name Ortiz. But MO Productions was formed because when Robert Orban retired from the youth service, there was a change of minister, there was a change of policy, and volunteering was not much of a requirement anymore, and they needed supply youth workers. Obviously, everybody that was there, or the majority of people that were there, wanted to carry on being volunteers. It didn't work out, so the majority of us left the Gibraltar Youth Service. And one day, a few months later, I went to my usual coffees, to the Emilio Hostel, speak to Lawrence. I could always speak to Lawrence about and seeking advice, no? And I told him about the opportunities that I had as a young person of going to UK, of going to La Costa del Sol, to organize, to participate in competitive dance festivals. And I said to him the idea, and then I said to him, I want to do it in Gibraltar. I need to do something. I now left the Gibraltar Youth Service, and there's a void in my life. And he says to me, bueno, I think you can do it, but I think to help you, you need to speak to Alfred. So I remember the summer of 2002. I went to Alfred's house, to an area we called the Cistern, really, really hidden under his house. And we had lots of meetings. And then in 2002 September, we established MO Productions. We registered as a charity with the Charities Commission. And our first event was the Gibraltar Stage Dance Festival in 2003. which we then renamed the Gibraltar International Dance Festival because we started having dancers from England and Italy coming to the event. And that's how everything was formed. And now, coincidentally, we're in our 20th year. So we'll be celebrating our 20th year. But with that, because of our voluntary work and because we were a charity, Alfred and I decided that all the funds would be given back to the dancers. That means that all profits from tickets pertaining to the festival go into the dancers fund. Then there is a trust that decides how we're going to distribute the funds. And the MO Productions Dancers Fund now helps many, many young people who want to go to study in the UK, to dance vocational schools, to drama vocational schools, who might go to work in the industry, West End, Caribbean cruises, because in the cruise industry as well, because all these people need support. They need our support. And that is what the money is there for. We do these charity events and then we give it back to the dancers themselves.
Fantastic. I've just realized that the sun has gone. I'm staying out of, the light is not as bright as it was. So just bear with me. I've just switched on the lights. I'm raising the blinds and there we are. Now you can see me better. Seamus, your most embarrassing moment?
Well, no, it's an easy one. It's an easy one because I was dancing very, very competitively. We used to train, I remember, to be able to compete at the World Championships. We used to train 5 days, 2 or 3 hours a day to compete at the World Championships. The last month was 7 days a week. And I was a very active member of the Gibraltar national dance team. And then my beautiful twin daughters were born. I retired. I stepped down from dancing for 1.5 years, obviously to support the family. But then my wife says, well, you have to give it one more shot. And I did in 2008. So I decided, well, I haven't got the flexibility or the fitness anymore as when I was a younger lad. So I decided to do a comedy piece called Make Them Laugh, from Singing in the Rain. And the first round came on, I came on the stage and my trousers ripped off. They ripped off and I had to carry on dancing. Well, you know, as a dancer yourself, you just need to carry on.
The show must go on.
Improvise and get on with it. The judges thought that it was part of the piece. They found it funny. But Michael Prescott's face when I came off stage said it all. He says, you have no chance of passing the first round. What was that? Luckily enough, I passed several rounds. I reached a semi-final and then I retired from the national team. But yes, certainly one of the most embarrassing moments in my life.
Your most memorable moment? Oh, before we go to that question, we have Nancy from Gibraltar saying, organizing events is a stressful job and you can't do it alone, but growing your team can also be stressful, especially when you've already got a million things on your plate. How you manage that stress, Mr. Seamus? How do you deal with stress?
Oh, I cannot deal with stress. It's like we said before, you just get on with the show, no? I remember when we started, I started in the ministry. It was really me and my CEO that used to organize the majority of events. Then when I became head of events and PA to the mayor, it was too much. So since 2013, we have been slowly recruiting, and now I have a team of 4, led by new head of events, which is Giovanella Vignales. And it's very stressful, but I learned from the best, which is Yvette Sub, and I also learned from the best, which is Robert Balvan, like I mentioned before. You always lead from the front. So I always try to organize the events as well myself and pull my sleeves up and off we go.
And off you go. You've been very lucky with having very good mentors. And
Yes.
we have Halil from Rabat that says, Mr. Seamus, I invite you to think about inviting Moroccan Royal Philharmonic to Gibraltar. I am sure a show at St. Michael's Cave would be unforgettable.
Thank you, Khalil. This is an excellent proposal. When I was speaking to Mohammed and Henry off air, we have been talking a lot about how we need to extend this partnership. We already started with a very small nucleus, like we did recently with Tangier. Now we're going to go over again. And there is where our partnership needs to grow. It would be excellent to have the Philharmonic from Morocco and from Rabat here at St. Michael's Cave. It would be surely an experience of a lifetime. And given my energy and my enthusiasm, I look forward to going to Tangier very, very soon and start working on all these ideas, working with the Straits Association, working with the Ministry of Culture. The Minister for Culture, John Cortez, has already told me off air this morning when we had a meeting about this interview today, that we need to go over, extend a hand of partnership and create these corporations. It's very, very important that your artists and your educationalists and your researchers come to Gibraltar in the same way that our people need to go over there to that beautiful land of Morocco.
Inshallah. And we have Rashida from Casablanca saying, Mr. Seamus, what's Moroccan culture mean for you? Don't you think we have to celebrate Tariq Ibn Zayed?
Of course, we need to celebrate as much as possible our Moroccan heritage. Gibraltar is a melting pot of cultures, and one of the most important cultures is obviously the Moroccan culture, and that needs to be celebrated even further. And that is part of my manifesto commitments as the CEO, is to promote a multiculturalism. It's so important. And I hope, like I said in my previous question, to extend our hand and work with many, many partners in Morocco through the Straits Association and all the fantastic team over there to be able to do more projects together. It's very important.
Very exciting times ahead. And of course, you can count on all our help from the Straits of Gibraltar Association in Tangier, both in Gibraltar and in Tangier. Seamus.
Thank you, Henry. And let me tell you to that question as well. There is a hashtag that I'm using a lot recently as well, because I'm very energetic. I love to produce. I sometimes tell my bosses, please, no more meetings. I just want to produce. There's a very important hashtag, which we have used recently at GCS. When there is a will, there is a way.
Always.
So let's go forward.
Always. Absolutely, absolutely. We have Rola Asadi from Paris says, Gibraltar would be a wonderful place for elegant cinema festivals, short movies and the long movies as well. What do you think about that, Mr. Seamus?
Well, thank you very much. Coincidentally, we had a meeting last week with a proposal to have a film festival in Gibraltar. Her Majesty's government of Gibraltar has for decades now trying to start a film festival. Obviously, we started the ball rolling pre-COVID. Everything has stopped, but now we're putting the show back on the road, and we hope that in the very not too distant future we can have a film event in Gibraltar, because again, it's important for our events-led tourism project, and it's important for Gibraltar PLC. The more people that can come to Gibraltar, the better.
Fantastic, and we look forward to that. And incidentally, we used to have a film festival in Tangier until recently, which was very, very well attended by international stars.
Sorry.
No, carry on.
No, I remember as well that there was a very, very important jazz festival in Morocco, which...
Oh, yes, the Tangier Jazz every September.
The Tangier Jazz in September. And we used to organize a mini jazz festival in Gibraltar, and this is where the partnerships need to grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, for example, I don't have those contacts, but I'm sure that the Straits Association and even the Ministry of Culture in Tangier, together we can all work as one, create this transborder cultural institute between all of us and get the ball rolling, because it's very, very important.
Oh, I can't wait for those links to be reestablished so we can get on with it. Let's get on with it. Seamus, let's go back to my question, which we didn't have a chance to answer. Your most memorable moment to date?
Well, personally, marrying my wife, superb day. My daughters, the birth of my 3 children, my twin daughters and my son. And very, very recently, I completed a half marathon, 22-kilometer run last week with a group of friends, raising money for the Great Ormond Street Hospital in UK. We raised £30,000. Those are memorable moments, personally. Professionally, Professionally, I've been very, very blessed, like I said at the very beginning, to have a vocation, and my vocation joins with the professional and it becomes one, no? I've organized many, many functions for Her Majesty's Government of Gibraltar, Freedom of the Cities, Mayor's Awards, to centenary, bicentenary celebrations, Diamond Jubilee, National Day, Gibraltar Fair, many, many events. But I'll choose one. I'll choose one specifically, and I'll tell you which one and why. And it surely is the Miss World Homecoming.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
I recall Cayenne winning Miss World, and we were trying to liaise with the Miss World office when she won, to see when she was going to come home. It didn't happen that weekend, no communication. Then suddenly the chief minister from Gibraltar at the time, Sir Peter Caruana said, there's a homecoming on Thursday. So we only had 3 days to organize the event. We worked together with the Gibraltar Tourism Board and other several government departments. Everybody got together as one.
This was December 2009.
December 2009, yeah? December 2009. We only had 3 days. And I even remember, because there were many people who came together, I even remember the Chief Minister's office calling me 24 hours before the event and saying, I want a fireworks display. And I said, but the fireworks display takes months to organize, and we have to get all the fireworks from Valencia. And he said, and the secretary says, the Chief Minister says, make it happen. And we did. And we did. And what I remember most about that day, the actual day, is it was pouring. It was pouring with rain. And I said, my goodness, all that we have done, and it carries on raining. And I don't know how the plane is going to land. Eventually, I don't recall the times, but let's say for argument's sake, it was 3 o'clock. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The rain stopped, the clouds cleared, and
the sun shone.
The perfect sunny day for a perfect landing, and welcome to a beauty queen like Cayenne, no? And we had to organize press conference. I don't know. It was a crazy few days, but the event went perfectly. I remember that I had to meet Cayenne outside Parliament. Main Street and John Mackintosh Square was packed to capacity. The car came up to Parliament. She got out the car. We were surrounded by.
We have to mention that it was the same car that was
that
drove Prince Charles and Lady Diana when they started their honeymoon in 1981.
Which was a Benata family car.
That's right, owned by Brahmi Benata, absolutely.
And then when she came to Parliament, and we were met by the police, because there was no way we could walk from Parliament to the City Hall. So I remember they tried to lift us up, and we were like storming into the City Hall via the side entrance, which now opposite you have Binopolis. And then she did a remarkable presentation at the Mayor's Parlour on the balcony.
With that red dress.
Gibraltar was packed. Then we went over to the Rock Hotel. I organized a press conference for Sir Peter, for Julia Morley and Cayenne. Then we also had a fireworks display. So everything was happening. But I must say, that was one of my memorable moments. There have been memorable moments. As the CEO, we've created a cultural development and education unit, which was never been done in the past. We've launched Culture TV, which is an incredible archive, an achievement. It's a credible archive. There are many shows of you performing as well, Henry.
Yes.
But we could be here all day about so many memorable moments.
See, I think we also have to. Sorry about that, but this tends to happen. My phone just packs in. El vivo, el directo. We have to say that on Cayenne's homecoming was one of those memorable occasions when the whole of Gibraltar came out and we forgot our political differences and everybody just was there for the one thing, which was to welcome back our Miss World, Miss Cayenne Ardorino. I mean, I remember being as an officer on duty at Cathedral Square to direct traffic. And what a moment that was when the car drove past and people were throwing confetti. And she had two bodyguards on either side of the car because the car was a sports car. And she was, of course, wearing the Miss World crown.
Yes.
What an amazing experience that was.
It was absolutely amazing, and
Yeah.
a moment that no one in Gibraltar will ever forget. And that is what I always tell many international people who come from abroad. That Gibraltar is a very small nation, but we have a massive heart.
And we do things in a very big way.
Yes. Sometimes we do it like the Americans, all out.
Yes. Absolutely. Seamus, future projects. What is there waiting to happen once the world returns to some kind of normality, which we're already on the way there?
Well, I've been very privileged to work with many cultural ministers and many people in the field of culture. Clive Bertrand was my first Minister for Culture, Fabian Binet, Edwin Reyes, Stephen Linares, and now I'm working very closely with a cultural thespian in Professor John Cortez. And obviously, there are many things that we want to do in the short term and very quickly, as soon as the transport issues are sorted. I need to take our culture, the phase 2 of the cultural exchange, where we'll be taking dancers, we'll be taking musicians, and we will be taking artists as well to exhibit their work in Tangier. Then obviously we have recently launched the National Theatre and Cultural Hub, which is a new project for Gibraltar that is very close to my heart. I think in the same way that there's so many things for sport in our community, and it's not criticizing the system, but it's just saying that they have fantastic facilities, fantastic everything. We need to have parity with culture, and I think that this National Theatre and Cultural Hub will allow for that, and will also support us with future projects. We need to invest further in cultural TV. We need more groups to send us their footage. Again, cultural exchanges with Tangier, with other areas of Morocco, extending it to other small nations as well, because it's important that our community is developed and educated in a way where we learn from other small nations, but also we ourselves export our art. We need to export our artists, we need to export our dancers, musicians, the whole spectrum. And we want to extend that invitation to Malta, to Madeira, and any other small nation that wants to work with us. Also, as part of my manifesto, I would like to have a facility which will cater for the Fine Arts Society and for the Fine Arts Fraternity in Gibraltar. There is a need. There is a very big need to have studio spaces for our fine artists. So we're working on that. I'm delighted that you have recently launched in Morocco the Duke of Edinburgh's Award scheme.
That's right.
That's excellent. But I want to take it a step further. There is the Arts Awards UK, which is very similar to the Duke of Edinburgh's Award scheme, but we want to start the Gibraltar Arts Award scheme, similar to the Duke of Edinburgh's, where there is a bronze, silver, and gold target, where young people will do voluntary work, will do service, and will do skills and residencies in the field of culture. And that is one of my main projects that I would like to start in the short term. I also want to see our events-led tourism program flourishing once again, like it was pre-COVID, organizing bigger events, bringing international events like the Gibraltar Youth Choir. The Gibraltar Youth Choir Games, it's a fantastic event which caters for many thousands of people from around the world. The Commonwealth Dance Games as well, bring them to Gibraltar. And again, reinstating things that were done in the past. For example, reinstating an art advisory council locally, extending our hand to cross-border organizations where we can sit down with people from the Campo de Gibraltar, work together, sit with people from Morocco, work together, and working with a common purpose of promoting and fostering the arts in our community, exporting our art, and making a better world for all our citizens. And finally, as a longer term, because there are many things that I want to do. But like I said before, when there is a will, there is a way, and avanti. By having a national theatre and cultural hub, we're able to then extend a hand as part of a memorandum of understanding that we signed yesterday with the University of Gibraltar in creating a humanities faculty and having performing arts degrees in our university. That would be a long-term
achievement.
Project.
Yeah,
An achievement. It's a long-term project, but we're working on it already, because when you organize events and when you organize things like that, you cannot start the night before.
absolutely. And every long journey starts with the first step.
That's it. There's always a dream, there's always a passion, and we will work on many things. And like I said before, I as part of my CEO manifesto, I really want to see our arts being exported and working with different communities, promoting our multiculturalism, promoting our music. And it would be good, like we said, having a philharmonic orchestra from Morocco in Gibraltar, and then our musicians and artists from Gampa, from the Performing Arts Academy, which Christian Santos leads, going over. That would be superb.
Absolutely amazing. Well, we look forward to cooperating and helping you out in any way that we can in the future. Seamus, as you say, we could talk and go on and on. It has been an absolute pleasure having you as our guest in our cultural exchange, which we have now been doing for just over a year. We look forward to, future projects and working together, as I said. Thank you very much for everyone that has asked questions. Encourage you to like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe. This is Henry Sacramento from the Rock of Gibraltar, sending love and blessings. Good night.
Shukran.